welcome back to the newest episode of the Nerd Variety Podcast. It is your host is three, Hannah and Hayden and Josh.
Hi.
Back again.
Hey.
After all this time. Just a little bit of a warning. We are recording this in the morning, which is like unheard of for us. So if the vibe's a little different, that's probably why.
Probably.
I don't know about you guys, but I rolled out of bed like 30 minutes ago.
See, I rolled out of bed under 2 hours ago, but
Okay.
which is very late for me. So, yeah.
This is about standard for me.
This is what happens when I get home from work at like 12:30 and then don't feel like sleeping for another couple hours or so.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Speaking of which...
Hold up. What did Josh say?
Sorry.
This is my morning to sleep in, but I still got up at 10 just because I don't like to get too much, sleep in too, miss out almost so much of the morning.
Yeah. I totally get where Hayden, where you're coming from, because I frequently don't get off work until like 9 or 10, and so sleeping until 10 or 11 is pretty standard for me.
9 or 10 sounds good now.
Now that you get off at midnight.
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah, guys, I started this new job, which is why our recording thing has been just so messed up lately. I am thinking about, yes, it is all my fault. I am thinking about quitting. In fact, I'm making steps to do that because I had a panic attack last weekend when someone pulled a gun on me at my job. So I am looking for another new job. Yeah. But yeah, usually I get done with work. I'm clocking out around like 10:30, 11:30, or 12:30 usually.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's the risk of getting a job in Georgia is people might just try and shoot you.
Yeah, especially like in the area.
I don't think that happens in Wisconsin. Well, not in like the city of Wisconsin, like cities in Wisconsin. Probably rural Wisconsin. Possibly.
Yeah, like this is real rural Georgia too.
Anyway, the topic we're going to be talking about today is characters we changed our minds about. In the past, we've talked about actors we changed our minds about, but instead of making a part 2, we decided to switch it up a little bit and talk about some characters. If you guys want a part 2 of either of these, let us know. We'll be happy to do it, but we just felt like mixing it up this go around.
Yeah.
So, all of that being said, we kind of discussed that there are 2 categories. One is characters that we just changed our minds about, not completely independently of them, but it's more based on maybe our perception of them or something like that. And then there's characters that like they literally just changed, so of course your opinion about them would change. So we're gonna have a little bit of each, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm still kind of going through my head about some of these because I'm stupid.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us what you've come up with?
Me?
Yeah.
What I have come up with? Oh, good job just putting me on the spot, even though you knew I was the last person to really think about things.
Well, Josh seems to be having some technical issues, so I figured I'd give him a second.
He's popping back and forth with his video. I think he's fine generally.
My audio's fine. It's just the video's not
okay.
When to play ball.
Yeah. Well, so for me, one that I want to start off with is, and I guess this is really more just because initially my context of this character was very limited, and then just when it expanded, I really enjoyed this character a lot more. Yennefer from The Witcher.
Okay.
So
good choice.
Yeah, she was I played the games in such a weird order. I think it was 2, 3, 1. It may have been 2, then part of 1, and then 3, and then I went back and did 1 and then 2, and now I'm in 3 again. It was weird. And then I started reading the books at random parts. But yeah, she's not really in the first 2 games. She's mentioned quite a bit, at least in the second one, like in flashback things, because Geralt's trying to piece together his memory. But then in the third game, if you've played it, obviously you know that she has a major role in that. She's the main character, and she pretty much is in every other piece of Witcher media. So like the books and the TV show, all of that stuff. So when I started playing The Witcher 3, and I didn't really know much about her character except, you know, obviously like what they talked about there. She just seemed very bossy, which she is. She's very demanding and in charge and everything. And because she was like a love interest of Geralt, and I was already familiar with Triss, and I really love Triss. I don't know. I didn't think she was nearly as good a match for Geralt as Triss, but just because that's what had been going through my mind. But after really understanding her motivations and everything, and again reading the books, seeing the show and all that, really getting a much larger scope of her character, it really makes me appreciate, like, wow, she is a tough character. She has done a lot, and she is awesome. And it's just, she's really good.
So it's interesting that you say that you changed your mind about her because you gained context, because I feel like I understand why you could have had that experience, but I like 100% didn't, because I saw the TV show first and then was like, this universe is awesome, and then played The Witcher 3, and I'm now playing it again. And I haven't read any of the books because you haven't lent them to me yet.
Whatever. Come over and get them. I have them now, I think.
But I feel like I started out with only understanding Yennefer's backstory, because I watched the show first, and that's the first thing that they talk about with her, is her backstory and who she was and who she came to be. So I feel like from the get-go, I was like, damn, this girl. Like, she just is a fighter and goes after what she wants. And
yeah, they really added a good, perspective to the show by going into like her character from the get-go, from the first episode, and then really putting some layers into the show. Because just focusing on Geralt, that's great and all, but it works for a video game, works for a book, but not so much for
who?
Geralt. Did I say Geralt?
Geralt?
Geralt? I don't know.
It's not like Gerald.
I couldn't remember if he has some kind of weird pronunciation to the G or what, but yeah. But yeah, he just focusing on his perspective for the games is one thing, for the books is one thing, but it was good that they had, her, Geralt, and Cersei. Ciri,
yeah.
Whatever her name is.
Ciri. Yeah, I actually feel like one of the characters on my list might be Geralt, because at first, again, starting with the show, and I've honestly was kind of like disappointed at first with, is it Henry Cavill? I don't know. Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
I don't know. Anyway, I was kind of disappointed with his performance at first, because I was like, this is just like Geralt's played as like totally emotionless, and I was like, oh no, he just actually is.
Yeah.
And sort of understanding the really subtle ways that he shows emotion. And now I'm playing The Witcher 3 again, and there's so many lines and scenes where Geralt's just like straight up sassy, but in his beautiful monotone way, and I'm just like, yes, sassy Geralt, I love it. But I definitely started out being like, this character is kind of boring, but not so. I came to appreciate him a lot.
Yeah, I really like Geralt.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think in the show, as far as I recall from the books, they added a lot of backstory to Yennefer. Like, I don't think they gave her all of that information in the books, at least not the first two. It's just like the first time you see her, maybe during The Last Wish. So, like there's the part with the genie and everything, right? They do have that in the show, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like when you first see her in the book, I believe, or somewhere around there.
Well, that's where
so they added backstory.
Gerald first meet.
Oh my gosh, it is driving me crazy every time you say Gerald.
This is how I feel anytime anyone says manga or mukbang or mukbang. Sorry, mukbang is the correct pronunciation.
Not manga?
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be manga, but people say manga, and I'm like,
manga.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I'm like, get your American harsh A's out of there. Thank you very much. Anyway, Josh, did you have one prepared to talk about?
Yeah, I had a couple.
What you got?
One of the first ones on my list was Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I'm very curious because I don't feel like he changed. I mean, he changes a little bit as a character.
Well, that I changed my mind about was more so that I was never really drawn to the character from the comics or the animated shows that he had.
Gotcha.
This is kind of him overall. But then in the MCU, they really humanized him. And they kind of showed him as, he's a smart guy, always has a trick up his sleeve, but he has his demons, and he has a lot of issues with his upbringing, and then with how he kind of compartmentalizes a lot of things, and then he realized the damage that his company was causing, and kind of gave him a reason to change his ways. And something that most CEOs / corporations should think about. And I liked how he was challenged in every movie. He got his ass kicked a lot for a lot of them, but he was able to show what he was made of, and he showed that he could put others before himself.
Right. Yeah. Because I was gonna say, I feel like if you boil his character down to sort of the basic essence of it, especially in the beginning, he's very self-centered.
Yes, very much.
Right. And then in the later movies, he shows how self-sacrificing he is, really. Right.
Yeah.
And almost how the self-serving attitude is a facade that he purposefully puts on.
Yeah.
Right. Where he purposefully acts more self-serving than he really is because it's comfortable.
Yeah. It's just kind of his natural thing, but he has to remind himself that I have to think about the world now, not just my name and my brand and my stuff. I have to think about, okay, what's the end game.
Boo.
I'll leave now.
Yeah, please.
Okay. But I'm gonna mute you. I'm actually gonna kick you from the group.
Yeah.
Because I can do that.
On a similar note, I feel pretty similarly about Spider-Man, where I enjoyed the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire back in the day, but was pretty neutral to them overall, I think. And in recent media, both with Tom Holland's Spider-Man and with the Spider-Man video games that have been coming out recently, I've started to appreciate the character a lot more. And I just feel like maybe it's because they're more accurate portrayals of who that character is to begin with.
Yes.
Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, maybe not the most accurate.
I've never been a big
disagree.
fan of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
I would disagree. I think
really
the first two movies showed his character traits, even though the 8 he didn't. I guess the movie's directions were kind of awkward, with him being really old, a lot older, Tobey Maguire being a lot older and playing a much younger character. But it showed that a lot of stuff that he was struggling with his being an outcast and getting his abilities, and then realizing that he had to either do use those for good.
No, sure, but I've always felt like he really kind of overplayed the awkwardness, and wasn't nearly as quippy as I feel like Spider-Man should be.
Yeah,
it became more of a light that he kind of switch that he kind of turned on and off, because when he was Spider-Man, he definitely had that quippy, smart aleck, personality to him. And then when he was Peter Parker, he kind of played that more of humble, kind of underdog, smart guy, but just just trying to do his best.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's also comic book characters are really tough because their characters pretty much depend entirely on who's writing them.
Sure.
for that issue or something.
Very true.
So comic book characters fluctuate probably the most between like one arc to another.
So I like this new portrayal of Spider-Man better. This new
I know what you were saying. I agree.
Yeah. Well, and I was surprisingly more than I expected interested in the Spider-Man games and the portrayal in those.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. And now I'm learning more about Miles Morales, who I'm like, part of me is like, why did we ignore this guy for so long? And then part of me is like, I feel like I probably know why.
I liked Miles Morales. I've liked Miles Morales for a long time. I was reading the Ultimate comic books with him well before they came out with like Into the Spider-Verse and all that stuff.
Yeah, but as someone who's a more casual partaker of comic book characters, I didn't know who he was until like a few years ago, and now I'm like, well, that's a darn shame. He's cool.
Yeah,
I like him.
He could definitely have his own, now he has his own movies and he has the video game. He definitely could have used more adaptations than when he got previously. I think originally he got his world was shown as an alternate universe in some Spider-Man cartoon, and then Into the Spider-Verse came out and the movie came out, and then they kind of hinted at him in Spider-Man Homecoming with his uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope we get more Miles Morales content. I would love for that. That'd be awesome.
I do too. More. Actually, I just want more spider people. I want Miguel O'Hara to show up at some point because that's gonna be weird stuff. If you don't know
too much of it.
Don't know who Miguel O'Hara is, that's from Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah. Yeah. They teased him in the at the end of Spider-Verse, so I think he'll be a big part in the second installment.
Interesting.
Yeah. But those take a while to make. So, but they take your time, make it good, and I will be sitting in theaters waiting for it to come out.
Yeah. I think maybe technically that was my turn, but I'm going to take another one.
Sure.
Because it was more of a spinoff of Josh's turn. I don't know.
I was ready.
I want to talk about some Stranger Things characters.
Strange.
Yeah, because we in sort of our pre-conversation, I mentioned Steve Harrington, who I think pretty much unanimously people did not like and now like. Right. Pretty much across the board because his character changed so drastically. Right. And then. One of you, I can't remember, mentioned Billy.
That was me.
That was you?
That was Hayden.
Yeah. And how, we thought Steve was bad, and then we met Billy, and Billy was way worse.
Yeah.
And our minds were never changed about Billy. But my mind was changed about Billy.
In the last second of his, character,
right.
He did the right thing. But...
Well, and so it's not as drastic a change as being I didn't like this character and now I do like this character, and more of I didn't like this character and now I kind of understand this character and honestly just kind of feel pity. Right? Yeah. So if you don't remember, the way that Billy behaved was basically because that's how his father treated him, is the way I understood it. Right? And he clearly was not a nice person, right? But also was, to some extent, the product of his environment. And then did try and make the right choices near the end. And then I think he died. Didn't he die?
Yeah.
He was super dead, right?
Yeah. He, that's what I said. He did kind of turn, realize, I should probably protect my sister from the evil interdimensional monster, and he was able to hold them off until they could beat him.
Yeah.
And you're right. He did. I do remember his dad. His dad was kind of a reflection of that's where he gets it all from. That's where he gets all the aggression and all his anger from.
Yeah, and so obviously it doesn't excuse that kind of behavior, but it does explain it and create sort of a sense of understanding where I'm like, okay, I get it. I still don't think they made the right decisions, but I understand now. And that paired with the trying to do the right thing and then ultimately dying, just kind of feel sorry for him rather than hating him. at the end of the day.
Yeah, the pity does come out at the end, but during the you still see a mix of his personality during season three where it's him and the monsters controlling him.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was not a nice guy.
Controlling him, but you can still see his personality.
Yeah. But again, he spends so much time under the control of these monsters, right? And in their clutches and stuff. And his whole story is just really sad.
More so in season 3, but season 2 is okay, he's just the worst.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, how many seasons have there been so far?
3 so far.
Just 3.
3.
Yeah, I think the fourth one's in the works.
Yeah, it's
coming out this year.
It's because last year was so weird and everything kept getting pushed or canceled. I was like, I feel like there is a season 4, but I can't remember if it's been released yet.
No, it hasn't been released yet.
We got the season teaser Valentine's Day of last year, and then
was it last year? I thought it was 2 years ago.
No, season 3 came out in 2019.
Did it?
And then we got a teaser for season 4 last February, but then then the Rona happened.
Yeah. So.
Well, can I take my turn now?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess so.
Yeah. Finally. You attention hogs. I mean, I would never do such a thing.
Oh, of course not.
No. Anyways, this is actually this is not a newer one for me, but this is one that I've definitely changed my mind about. And I kind of hate bringing up very similar reasons or examples for why I changed my minds about these characters. But one that I changed my mind about pretty significantly was, and it's another complicated one because it's a comic book character, Bane from Batman. If I had read Nightfall first before seeing Batman and Robin, I think it was Batman, then I would have been thinking they just did a bad job with him in the movie, because in the movie he's shown to be just an idiot and he's just a big pile of muscle who doesn't really think or anything. But in the comics, he's awesome. He's evil, but he is super intelligent. He's an awesome strategist. He's just such a badass character. He breaks Batman rather easily. He escapes from the prison that he was grown up in, and he just went to do all of this stuff basically on his own. He caused a breakout at Arkham Asylum, got all the villains loose, and he knew that they would go, or that Batman would try to stop them all. And he waited until Batman was so exhausted from fighting everyone. And then he went in, and he's already stronger than Batman anyways, but he knows how good of a strategist and everything that Batman is. So he made sure to make him exhausted so that he couldn't really think. And then he weakened him, and he came after him and pumped himself up with the venom, and then he broke his back. So you just get a lot of, I guess, respect for him. At least I did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's shown since then, he's been shown to be really smart and capable, but it is rather hit or miss depending on, where you're seeing him portrayed.
I gotta admit, I feel like
it's pretty good.
I feel like I was always confused about his character because, again, I haven't read any of the comics. I think the only 2 places I'd seen him portrayed was Dark Knight Rises and Young Justice, I think. And I was like, these 2 characters don't seem like the same character. Oh, and there was I think, was it the Telltale Batman game, I think?
Yeah, he was
he's in there.
I think he's in season 2.
Yeah. But all 3 portrayals seemed very different, and not only in like the character design, but in like the personality and vibe of the character. And so I've always been kind of like, I don't really get this character.
Yeah. Again, like when he's done more correctly, more true to like at least his first appearance, he's awesome. And he's just great. But a lot of times I think some writers make the mistake of making him just like a super buff, like basically just a meathead.
I was gonna say, did he have any venom in Dark Knight Rises?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. They slightly teased it, or they cut it down to where it was just like, oh, he wears that mask, and I guess the mask kind of helps with his villain identity.
Yeah, so I think
it also ties into his backstory where he was giving they gave him anesthesia that blocks pain because he's in pain. He's always after he was attacked in the pit, he was left in constant pain.
That sounds familiar.
But yeah, and I guess they want to make it more realistic, towards like, oh, in this world this is all there's no venom, there's no superhumans. It's just people in costumes and people that are just crazy and just there's crime and corruption and whatnot.
Makes sense, but I think that was my first exposure to Bane, and so that being kind of originally who I thought he was, and then later learning about the venom, I was like, wait, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm hoping with this new Batman series that they can bring him back as with his actual like origin and his actual like make him accurate to the comics, and I think they can still tell a really good story with him.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
We'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't Bane technically like mixed race or Latino?
I believe he was Latino. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and
he's South American.
And they didn't do any of that in Dark Knight Rises, I think, either, did they?
No. They want to go with they went with Tom Hardy, who's English, and they kind of gave him like an Irish accent.
And so then I think going and experience him, I can't remember if it was Young Justice or the video game first, but he was very clearly Latino, and I was like, wait.
Usually he is, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's usually how he's portrayed. Well, and also because a big part of his identity, at least again in many places that he's shown, like for his mask, he usually wears a luchador mask.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so again, I guess really the Dark Knight Rises really just confused me. Set me on the wrong path of expectations for that character, and I was very confused for a long time, but I'm starting to figure it out.
Yeah. It was good representation. It was a good portrayal of the character, even though there was a lot they just cut out just to make so they could have their own version.
Honestly, the best thing about that movie is Anne Hathaway in a cat suit, but it's fine.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes.
In a cat suit was awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Josh, I believe it's your turn.
Yeah, another one I changed my mind about. This is due to some, I guess I kind of looking at it from a first glance. Like I was in college when I watched. I'm talking about Broly from Dragon Ball. I watched the Broly movie in college, and it was just like, this is long and kind of dumb, and And that's how most people saw this character. Is kind of an annoying character. He was too powerful, had no personality. He was more just the wall for everyone to get past and to beat to win, to save the day. But then Dragon Ball Super ended, and then they had the TV series ended, and then they came out with Dragon Ball Super Broly, the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie a couple years ago. And that turned the whole character around. It showed how there was more to him. That he was just badly treated. He and his father were cast away from the planet because of Vegeta, King Vegeta's pride in his son, and not wanting someone to be more powerful than him, even though that's they weren't really in the position to throw away their most powerful soldiers or most powerful members, and they were treated very badly, got cast out. But it showed Broly had a personality underneath that rage and anger and just brute strength. He was also weighed down by his dad's desire for revenge. And at the end, I'm glad they did not do the classic thing where they kill him off and that was it. So there's a chance where he could come back later, and it will be interesting to see what they do with him, because we know how strong he is, but where else can you go with that?
Yeah, or they didn't do like what they did in the Dragon Ball Z movies with him, which was kill him, bring him back, kill him again, sort of bring him back as a clone thing.
Oh gosh. I have no desire to watch those sequels unless Team 4-Star decides to do more of those, which I don't think they are, but that's the only way I would watch them.
I liked the second one. I don't know why. It was because I watched it when I was a lot younger, and I think I saw it before I saw the first Broly movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was just more. I think it was just because there was more like nonstop action, basically. But yeah.
Yeah, which the new movie has like it's like 40 minutes of just constant fighting, but it's a lot more visual. It's a lot more like you're amped up watching it instead of just they're just fighting and
yelling.
Yeah. Oh god, the yelling. Yeah.
It's a staple of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you gotta yell, otherwise you're not. This isn't Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, you're not strong enough if you don't scream loud enough.
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And have you seen Dragon Ball Super Broly? You should watch it.
I have not. I have barely watched any Dragon Ball, honestly.
Okay. Well, this is actually be a good intro for you to watch it. It kind of goes into the Saiyan's backstory, and it kind of does a brief little, little montage of everything of that what happened in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and some of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah. I've watched a little bit recently because my sister and her very soon to be husband have been watching it together. He's been having her watch Dragon Ball and she's been having him watch Star Trek. It's really cute.
Oh, that's nice.
So I've been every now and then I'll pop in and watch it with them. But I feel like it's a little disheartening when I feel like 90% of the episodes I've seen have been them at some tournament or another trying to fight people.
That is a lot of the episodes.
I feel like every time I walk in, I'm like, are they in another tournament? And they're like, no, it's the same one. And then I'll walk in the next week and be like, is this the same tournament? Like, no, it's a different one. I'm like, okay.
That makes sense.
And I'm
yeah, there's a lot of that. Ask them about watching Dragon Ball Super Broly together. Y'all can watch that together one day.
How do you spell that name?
Broly, B like bro, and then Ly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell if it was Broly or Broling.
Broly, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I also hesitate to just get into it because for the same reason I hesitate to get into Game of Thrones. That's the one, or like Naruto or One Piece, where I'm just like, do I really want to commit this much of my life to this thing? I don't know.
Yeah, they're all kind of a commitment because there's so much of them.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I commit to something and like it comes out gradually, and I can just sort of like every year, take a week to get caught up, then like I can do that. But I don't know, man. There's so much Dragon Ball. Like,
there is. That's why I say just go ahead, just watch this movie. You'll if you're confused about the story, you'll just like it for the visual effects because they really do go all out with like the animation.
Yeah, it's really varied too. They got a lot of variety in the animation style, which is pretty interesting.
Maybe I shall.
Yeah, I think they use like there's like three animators that they use for like and like the first part, and then there's the first fight, or there's like there's one that goes for there's like three. Yeah, I think it's just three. It's like three parts of like where and there's one style they use, and they switch to a different style for a small part, and then the ending is a different animator.
That's weird.
Also, if you get into the series, there's Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT, which there are parts of GT that are good, but overall it's not considered very good. And then Super, which kind of took the place of GT, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of commitment.
It is.
Well, I have one more just in the last couple minutes here.
Good.
But I was wondering, I've forgotten, how familiar are you guys with Doctor Who?
Very.
Very?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Because I initially did not like Peter Capaldi's portrayal of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I came to appreciate him because I feel like, are you aware of the different Doctors, more or less, Josh?
Oh yeah. I'm aware. I know
Okay.
that it was I watched the Christopher Eccleston season, and then I watched a little bit of the 10th
David
Doctor.
Tennant, yeah. Christopher Eccleston does not get enough love. He was great.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. And then watching a little bit of course, I watched a lot of Matt Smith's Doctor, and then he turned into Peter Capaldi.
Yeah. So I feel like as the progression went from Christopher Eccleston to David Tennant to Matt Smith, he got progressively younger and goofier. And then we switched immediately to Peter Capaldi, which was just kind of like a shock, honestly, I think is what it was, because he's significantly older. He came across much more like angry and serious. And then I feel like in later in the seasons, they kind of played up his goofiness and made him kind of like this goofy uncle figure. And I started to enjoy him like that. I feel like I'm still kind of confused by him. But I just felt initially, I honestly stopped watching Doctor Who for a long time because after Matt Smith and just his boundless energy, going to Peter Capaldi's kind of angsty Doctor was like, oh, this isn't what I wanted.
And then to Jodie Whittaker.
Unfortunately, I have yet to change my mind about Jodie Whittaker. I think that she is a fine actress. I think that she has not had very good writing. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's another one that's very inconsistent
Yeah.
with the writing.
Yeah, I watched an episode of the most recent season, I think, or the season before, and the whole deal behind it was like people were getting sick and dying, and it's because of an alien that's in the plastic, and there's microplastics everywhere, and we're all breathing them in all the time. And I'm like, wow, wait a just 100%. Like, it's very clear you're pushing your agenda here.
I remember.
Right on the
I agree with your agenda, but like, let's chill a little bit. Yeah. Also, I wish that they would let her be angry. She needs to be angry.
She does get angry sometimes.
She needs to be angrier.
Rage.
Yeah.
Rage.
I really like what they did with the Master.
Yeah.
In her arc.
Yeah. Anyway, not the point. Point is, didn't like Peter Capaldi's Doctor, but I liked him in the end. I enjoyed him. I thought that he was very unique and did things differently, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I think that's pretty much it. Next time, maybe we're going to be doing a special music scenario thing if Hayden decides to like put in enough effort to prepare that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we'll be still talking about music. So expect some music-related content at some point in the next 2 weeks, depending on when things are recorded and released.
Yes.
And hopefully Hayden gets a new job soon where they are not threatened with a gun and have a regular schedule.
Yes, at least semi-regular schedule.
That will be very nice.
2 good things.
That would be nice.
Very good things. Any final comments?
No. Just, again, I'm so sorry for the weird schedule changes, but...
Again, it's 100% Hayden's fault.
Yes, I will try to get something together.
Get together.
More importantly, don't get shot.
No.
I'll do what I can.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, nerd out.
Nerd out.
Nerd out.